Welcome to this completely unbiased and wildly chaotic video featuring Grand Theft Auto 5. The following content may include reckless driving, criminal behavior, bad decisions, loud explosions, and the destruction of digital property. During these videos, I may also talk about pop culture, internet nonsense, celebrities, movies, games, and people in the chat. Any jokes, sarcasm, exaggerations, or insults directed at public figures, fictional characters, corporations, trends, or anything else are clearly comedic commentary and opinion, and are not statements of fact, nor representations of my real-life views or beliefs. This video is purely entertainment. Everything shown happens inside a video game where the laws of physics, morality, and traffic safety are optional. No real crimes were committed in the making of this video. No real people were harmed. No real allegations are being made about anyone living or dead. In fact, if it sounds ridiculous, guess what? You guessed it! It probably is. If you are easily offended, allergic to sarcasm, or have a hard time placing your personal biases aside, feel free to leave now. I'm just being unbiased, y'all. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Modern dating strikes again. Woo, yo, it is so wild because the internet is not a real place, but it definitely reflects reality, especially when you got people who are chronically online. I've talked about this before in recent videos. Make sure you dive into the archives. But I've noticed something, y'all. I've noticed that women who are chronically online have turned the word provider into such a dirty term. It's like, ugh, stop calling me a provider. Ugh, I want to be somebody's provider. Not in the way they describe it, at least. No, I get it. A lot of them claim they don't want to uphold the patriarchy, but a lot of the things that they claim that they value and want from men are rooted in patriarchal values. Or at the very least, it's traditional. And I can't stand that term trad anything, whether it be trad man, trad husband, trad wife. All of that trad nonsense, all of these labels is exactly what I've been telling y'all is destroying this whole society that y'all claim to love so much. These social constructs really are tearing y'all the fuck up. For example, fellas, y'all are still upholding dating standards that were created in your grandfather's economy. Yeah, all that paying for dates every time y'all go out was invented when your grandpa was paying for dates, and they ain't had to do much. It was a much simpler time and place, you know? And I think it's funny because a lot of the things that were going on back then were about economic stability and family survival. That was the primary goal of the reason why they even began to develop relationships with one another. There were clearly defined gender roles, meaning that the male was a provider and the female was a nurturer. But that also marginalizes people that have other goals, different relationship dynamics than the ones that society says that you have to have. And we see it now. We see it now where people are literally flipping those on their head. So instead of it being about economic stability and family survival, people are about mutual self-fulfillment and independence. Yeah, that want you, but I don't need you mentality is running rampant in every single modern relationship. And now you also see people being more fluid and overlapping in the way that they approach things that used to be more traditional in the way that certain genders approach them. Now, I'm not saying that women at large are taking out the trash, but I am seeing men doing a lot more emotional labor in relationships. And I'm seeing women be a lot more physically involved when it comes to the things that men have been doing in the household. I don't want to get too detailed. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think that it's important that we realize that the decision-making dynamics have completely changed. The way that the traditionalists and the old folks was doing it was very hierarchical. And it was based around the family. So even if you weren't a man in a family dynamic, people still appealed to a man's decision making, authority in certain scenarios. But now we're all about collaboration. We're all about individuals having their shit together and then coming to the quote unquote proverbial table and then bringing what they can to it. Now, a lot of people believe they are the table. Shout out to Leslie Jones. But I believe that there shouldn't be a conversation about the table. You know what I'm saying? Y'all should be really building from the ground up. Why are we worried about furniture? Shouldn't we be worried about shelter. Anyway, it's just important for us to realize that a lot of these dynamics are messing people up. And now when a woman that has just about the same rights, if not a few more that are privileged to them specifically, and when she talks about having a provider, it gets very strange because they're doing similar, if not better than us in certain fields when it comes to money making now. So these patriarchal systems and constructs that y'all are clinging to in the modern dating world is messing people up, and it's really causing people to be like, shrugging. They're confused. They're not Confucius. The reason why is because the generation that we're in now is way more about having these roles make logical sense than just societal sense. And especially since society has changed. Yeah, the bills that your grandpa or your great grandfather were paying when they were taking people on dates are not the bills that you currently are paying today. A lot of them were getting married very, very young as well. So it's almost like it's almost like leaving the party with the first person that you meet in certain scenarios. And I'm not saying that you need to be experienced and experience everybody in the party. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is a lot of them didn't have the same frequency of people that they were interacting with that you do now, is what I'm pointing out. All right. So all of this provider talk from the modern dating world is, I understand what you're trying to get. I understand what you're really, really saying when you say you want a provider. Women, you're saying that you want somebody that's emotionally, mentally, and physically secure in every aspect of their life, enough for you to relax and live this quote unquote soft girl life. A lot of you even say that you're entering a soft girl era, but I believe a lot of y'all enter in and out of these eras because y'all are making errors. More on that later. Wanting a provider is an incredible thing to say that you want out loud, especially when you say that you're independent and you don't need a man online and even in real life by your actions. I'm not saying that you have to walk it like you talk it. When, like, for example, I'm unbiased on and offline. At least I try to be. So when I'm online, I'm going to give it to you just the same way I would give it to you if you were seeing me in person. The reason why is because I don't let my personal biases interact with people that are not in my circle of trust. Now, once you're in the circle of trust, you know exactly how I feel about any and everything, especially if you are on that type of timing. But I believe a lot of times when you're approaching people, especially when you're posting your standards online, you're forgetting that people can scroll past your standards, form whole entire opinions about you, and put you in compilations with other people that sound just like you. Meaning everything you said is not new. Hate to break it to you. I can type in right now, I want a provider on any of these social media apps. Oh, snap, I missed that. I can type in, I want a provider on any of these social media apps and see whole compilations of mainly women and others screaming at their phones about where all the good men are. Why don't the men provide anymore? And it's like, wait, do y'all want the patriarchy or not? It's almost like y'all trying to a la carte the patriarchy. Trying to a la carte the patriarchy. It's wild. It's just strange behavior because, check me out. I don't think any man that I've spoken to in the dating world has an issue with providing their portion, especially when it comes to the social standard, meaning he has to approach, he has to plan, he has to pay. For at least the first date or encounter, which I don't believe you should be dating when you're single. I don't think you should be dating or courting strangers, but we'll talk about that more later as well. It's just interesting because I see men doing the providing off the top, but then I wonder what women believe their job is. Outside of showing up and looking pretty and doing what they should already be doing as a woman in the first place, I wonder what they believe their role is in the modern dating market. Because sure, you can want a provider, but providers need producers. And then there's this whole age-old saying, well, if you bring groceries, then I make you a meal, and if you bring me a sperm, then I bring you a baby. It's like, yeah, but the modern guys are realizing something that our elders did not tell us. See, the elders, they just protected, quote unquote, any woman that they saw because they felt like that was their duty. But really, innately, men throughout society and women throughout society have not protected each other just because we identified as men and women. No, 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 no. We protected our biology. And biologically, males have always protected females because they have wombs. And these wombs can create life, meaning it can secure your legacy. Can literally copy and paste some of y'all. I be seeing y'all babies. They be beautiful. They are literally carbon copies of y'all. That's some strong genes. Shout out to those parents that can do that. But yeah, they can literally create life with that womb. It does not make them weaker. Doesn't necessarily make them stronger, especially if they can't do it without us. But we do need to protect the womb. We're not protecting women because that's a social construct based on whatever society you're in. We're protecting biologically what secures our future as a species. I feel like some of y'all don't even realize that men are the same species as y'all. It's strange. It's strange. And I started off the video talking about how being a provider has become a dirty thing, because it is in this society. But if a woman calls you a provider, it can be a bad look, fam. It can be close to the trickster culture when a woman calls you a provider, especially if she's not producing anything. Oh, no. And she ain't got to produce a child. She has to produce also ideas. She has to produce consistency, effort, genuine love and respect. That's important, fam. A lot of you guys, y'all are hella generous with your masculinity, and you're hella generous with the things that really you should be gatekeeping. Y'all are doing husband and fatherly duties at a stranger price. Providing, though. Keep being a provider, fam. The way they talk about providers these days, you sound like an ATM. You sound like a human resource, a means to an end. Okay. You know, they're not rocking with you because they genuinely want to rock with you. Not every one of them, but there's too many of them. And they're loud and wrong every time they talk about wanting a provider online. First of all, providers don't go looking for women that say they want providers. That's a tip for you ladies that's loud about this shit. Yeah, hell nah. I have never met these guys, and I have met these guys. Even if I was working or they're my friends, I've met these guys. Never met these type of guys that have women that were screaming, I need a provider, I need a provider. Now, they may have exuded that, but I think a lot of that was because, like I said, these guys grew up with men that told them that they had to do certain things based on how they did them back in the 1900s. The future is now, old man. All right. Okay. Now, what am I saying? Ultimately, I'm saying that if you are a provider, shout out to you. Cool. You're a last of a dying breed, though. And not from the sense of you doing everything that needs to be done that's required of you as the man in your relationship dynamic. But when it comes down to providing for somebody, just make sure it's absolutely worth it, and that you're also looking for somebody that's producing what you value. A lot of you guys are literally, like I said, y'all cheap, y'all easy. Women brag about what the little things that they can do for y'all that don't cost much. They brag about how little they can do for y'all. For real. You've seen these videos like, oh, all I did was plan something and he was happy. He was grinning from ear to ear. Bruh, like, what? What do you mean? Like, I think it's hilarious when they brag about the little things that they have to do for y'all that y'all value and appreciate so much, which, I mean, it's a start, I guess. At least you're getting something. But bruh, y'all literally sound like y'all are suffering from attrition. Don't be so caught up on being the only provider, because as much as I said a provider needs a producer, producers provide what they produce. And it better be efficient. Yeah, it's got to be hella efficient. You should judge what she's producing and providing to you too. Don't just settle for whatever because, oh man, I'm just going to take what I can get. I don't want to demand too much from her. The dating market really is the way it is. It's because of the fellas. Yeah, y'all got to start demanding more, expecting more. For real. All the way around. All the way around. And I'm not trying to be one of them guys that's trying to police the way that you date. But yeah, if you're planning and paying the first date, cool. But then why is she not expected to plan and pay for the second date? And even if you are planning and paying for the first date, right? Totally fine with that. But then if you're about to pay, she should be at the very least, be offering to tip. At the very least. And I get it, yo. I get it. It's very difficult to, on the spot, have to teach somebody date etiquette. And a lot of guys, what they're doing now is they're about $80 to $100 into the date and having buyer's remorse. And realizing through conversation, just casual conversation, that, this ain't about to go nowhere. So you about $100 to $200 into a date and you might not ever see this person again. And you're not even expecting another date after this? No, you should be demanding it. It's like, hey, yo, I did what I was supposed to do. Now you front your move. That's why I say single people should not be dating, because it leads to a certain level of expectations that are unrealistic. Because of the date etiquette that I'm talking about. It's just simple things like that, man. I'm talking about her paying for the tip. Man, I wouldn't even go on dates back in the day if she wasn't at least paying for the drinks or something, if we were going for drinks, or paying for any dessert that I might have. Like, what are we doing? Yes, be courteous, be generous, be thoughtful, be kind. Consider my pocket, sweetheart. That's attractive to me. You guys take these people out and do all of this stuff for, first of all, strangers, and then hope. Sit there and hope that she presents a certain level of reciprocity that you may or may not get, because you truly do not know this person. That's why you should only be dating in relationships. It's better that way. You're not keeping tabs on your girlfriend. Y'all are just doing for one another. She should already know what you like and don't like. Y'all shouldn't be out on dates asking what each other's favorite color is and when's the last time you did certain things. I'm tired of those stupid ass questions while y'all are on dates. I'm out here, I'm like, damn, man, I'm trying to have a romantic night. Get out of the way. Y'all are in the way. This is space for lovers. Why are you strangers out here? Dating is only for lovers and virgins that are focused on marriage. I'll say that flat out. Because they ain't thinking like these women that are saying they want providers. If you're abstinent till marriage and marriage is your mindset, then yes, go on dates. But I think it's very important that we start delineating who deserves what. Especially when it comes down to certain etiquette on dates. Just planning and paying for everything, fellas, it ain't the move, and you can see it from the young bulls. They telling you right now, ain't nobody gonna use me for my pockets. And the ladies try to shame them by saying they so afraid of spending money that they don't got. No, they got it, and they showing you that they got it, because look at these clubs, look at these bars, they going under. Y'all ain't planning and paying for nothing at mass, so that's why this shit is going under. If y'all were planning and paying for stuff like sections and bottles and stuff for not only your homegirls, because we know you can do it for yourself, you're the only person paying for it, sweetheart. Pay for your man and his friends too, and then see how much that shit costs, okay? Because y'all love to talk about, well, I can do it for me, so I don't need nobody else to do it for you. Okay, so the men can do it for themselves solo too, but sweetheart, you're expecting him to do it for you and expect nothing in return other than your presence. Okay, do that for him. Do everything that you require from him and just expect his presence, just to show up. Or like I said, expect another date in return. That's where dating comes into play. But dating is not the man planning and paying for everything, or you planning something and then he still has to pay for it. No, if you plan something, you need to pay for it. All right. And if you're not planning or paying for it, then why are you even opening your mouth? That's why these boys think y'all broke when y'all say y'all won't provide us. That's why they're clinging onto their pockets when they hear that. Okay. They're concerned, even if they don't got the money. That word is very triggering to modern men. And yo, I love it, because a lot of guys now are realizing that it's not princess treatment to want reciprocity. Okay. You got to have a king in the midst, okay, to understand what it means to be a princess, sweetheart. It's not about princess treatment. It's about reciprocity. No, they don't want flowers, but they want the equivalent of that. And if you don't know what that is, you need to talk to your man more to understand what he appreciates the way that you may appreciate flowers. Yeah, that's not exclusive. That's not exclusive to just every man. Every man knows what he feels like may be flowers. And you should know that about your guy if that's your guy. If not, then I understand. Like, everything ain't for everybody. And really, when you're out here just casually dating and not dating with intention, of course, you're going to be like, well, let me just see how many people I can effectively casually date as opposed to putting in real work and effort. That's why the type of dating I'm talking about, the type of dating I'm saying that single people shouldn't be doing, that's real intention. That's real effort. That's righteous work. All of this other stuff is just noise. It's just experiences, which can help certain people. But I get it, yo. Being a provider, that was an amazing thing to do back in the day, especially when you guys were holding women down and oppressing them and having them cook all of your meals and wash all your clothes. But being a provider in these days is looking very fluid based on the recent numbers. It's looking very mutual. Ladies, if you ain't breaking bread, it's going to be a problem for y'all here in a couple of years. All right. And I'm talking about real bread. Don't be cheap, because men are cheap, too. That's why y'all hate these coffee go dates. But guess what? I'm going on record by saying that, yes, coffee dates are not dates when you're both single. Yeah, a walk in the park is not a date when you're both single. But if you're in a relationship, just sitting on the porch, candlelit, with a nice home cooked meal together, that's a date. That's why these women are strangers to y'all. That's why they don't want to cook and clean and plan dates for y'all or cook. What are you talking about? Cook for a stranger? But if y'all were in a relationship, it'd be a no fucking brainer. That's what I'm trying to point out to y'all. Dating is not for single people. Single people should just be friends. Be friends until you figure out whether or not you want to date this person. And then guess what? Friends become lovers and turn into mothers. So mothers, be good to your daughters so they're not out here looking for providers. And fellas, raise your sons so they can do better than what we've seen. We're in a new age, y'all. Get with it or get ran over. Peace.